the New York Giants 35, the Washington Redskins 33. We'll be back at Yankee.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video, and welcome to the Gridiron. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone out there, just taking some time out of the day to check out this video. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below or maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But at least anyway, thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you all. Well, now the Giants are, still over 20 guys on the injury reserve. We just added, of course, we added Sterling Shepard there because sadly his season's over. You get to what, it was like about a minute and a half left to go in the game. Unbelievable. That guy can't catch a break. Non-contact injury. You can just see he's just trying to make a break off the line of scrimmage, and it just goes down. So sad. So he's on the injury reserve, obviously. And then, of course, Daniel Jones with his neck. He's on the injury reserve. Sterling Shepard, will he be able to be back in time for the beginning of next season, or will they have to put him on the IR maybe to start this season? We'll have to wait and see. It won't be easy for him. We can certainly use him, but it won't be easy for him. Now, with these guys, the question is, what do you do with them? He was a great pick in the second round. This was the back-to-back draft from Mr. Jerry Reese, where the second rounders wound up being about 1,700 million times more productive than the first rounders. Because you had Eric Flowers in 2015, the first round. Then in the second round, we drafted Landon Collins. 2016, we drafted Eli Apple with pick number 10. Then in the second round, we picked got Sterling Shepard. It's just absolutely incredible how you got two top 10 picks, and the second round there's wound up being so much. It's simply amazing. Yeah, unbelievable. But the guy can play on my team anytime. You gotta love his attitude. Everything about him. The guy, especially now the past 3 years, and even 4 out of the last 5 years, the guy cannot stay healthy. 5 years ago, it was his second year in the league. He missed 5 games. Then his third year in the league, he played all 16 games. He was healthy. Then, his fourth year in the league, he missed 6 games. Last year he missed 4 games. This year he's with these final 3 games, he's going to miss 10 games. So he's missed, out of the past 3 years, he's missed 20 games. He's also, out of the last 5 years, he's missed 25 games. So out of the past 5 years, he's missed a total season and a half of football. Basically 4 out of the last 5 years, he can't play the whole season. And the past 3 years in a row, he can't play the whole season. He just gets. This year was it was like one injury after the other. It was just. He had the quad for a while. Finally came back, played a game, and then even he's back on the injury list again with the calf. Now he comes in here, and it is what it is. But then he gets hurt again. It's a shame because he was doing so, in the first couple games, when he was healthy and all and everything. And Daniel Jones was in there and all this and everything. He had 16 catches first 2 games, 19 targets. He had 207 yards. He had 1 touchdown. Really, he was just good. And then the injury bugs just started hitting him. And, last year, he missed 4 games last year, but caught 66 passes. What does that project out to if he played the whole season? Well, he would have had 88 catches for about 880 yards. He would have had about 4 or 5 touchdowns. 88 catches. If he plays the whole season. This year, I mean, he would averaged out to about, if he played every game this year, he would have had over 80 receptions at the rate he was going. Last year, he was on pace for 88 if he played the whole season. This year, he was on pace for over 80 once again if he played the whole season. I mean, but it's like, if you're only so good, if you're on the field. I mean, if you're on the sideline all the time, Now, the thing is, it's going to be interesting to see how or who the new GM is. Because, like, with the cap situation, especially for next year, things are going to get tight. The following year, they're going to open things up, and they're going to have more money. Now, whoever the new GM is, you have to wait and see. Because next year, his cap hit is $12.5 million. But if you let him go, it still costs you $8 million. So if you let him go, you'll save yourself about $4.5 million. That's a tough one. I mean, you're going to save 4.5, but you're going to bite 8. That's a tough one. Maybe after next year is over. His cap hit in 2023 is 13. That would be his final year of contract. His 2023 his cap hit is 13.5 million. It's like 13.495, I think, or something like that. So I just round up like 13.5. But his dead cap is only $4 million. So if you let him go, you'd be saving about $9.5 million. So he's signed, for 2023. He's on the roster. He's a part of the salary and all that and everything. But if you're going to let him go, you'll save another $9.5 million, which I'm going to go over in a second or so here. Could be huge. The thing is, now you got to, can you get somebody to, you have to find somebody to replace him. Is there somebody on the roster? I mean, you got Kadarius Toney, and you got Kenny Golladay. I mean, maybe Dante Pettis, one of those guys. I mean, maybe, but you got Darius Slayton. I mean, he just seems like he's just kind of getting worse and worse as the years go by. I mean, you got Pharaoh Cooper, Colin Johnson. I mean, Evan Ingram won't be there anymore. So, we could probably use him next year. Maybe we're going to draft somebody in a draft, and maybe we got some good draft picks. But we certainly could use somebody to replace him, especially if he's not going to be on the team next year, or if he's going to miss some games. Because we're going to be a little weak in the tight end. Because not that Evan Ingram was phenomenal or whatever, but he's always a mismatch. And we don't really have anybody on the team that's a mismatch. We got Kyle Rudolph, who's got some good hands, but he's not Evan Ingram. He's not a mismatch. It'd be interesting to say that once again, because you have no idea who the GM is, where it winds up going. I would just try to keep him, I guess, because for next year, hopefully he plays in most of the games. Does he come back? Is he healthy? Is he strong enough to produce? But after next year, if he's on the team next year, I would really think highly about it. Just, sadly, I hate it, but just getting rid of him and taking the $4 million cap hit, but saving an additional $9.5. Once again, which I'm going to go over in a second here. Then we go to Daniel Jones, right? Once again with his neck. The season's over with. Put Fromm in there, see what he can do, see if you want to have him, because Glennon's not going to be around next year. If you got Glennon as your backup quarterback once again, I feel sorry for us. Put Fromm in there, see, hey, this guy might be an adequate, decent backup for us, He's not maybe going to win us a Super Bowl, but if something were to happen to Daniel Jones, which is something has happened all 3 years, we put him in there, maybe he can do adequate. He did good against the Cowboys, but also you got to look at, too, the Cowboys, it also kind of seemed like the Cowboys had the game, I don't know, it wasn't wrapped up totally. But, it was like, them little dink and dunk play. He had the nice one to Golladay and all that, but a couple dinks and dunks here. Barkley got one, but they tackled him, kept him in bounds. Sterling Shepard caught the first one from him, tackled him, kept him in bounds, keep the clock running. But then when they got down to the end zone, things kind of tightened up a little bit. we wasn't able to score any points in the red zone as far as touchdowns. We could have kicked a field goal if we needed that, but but it was a nice drive for especially his first drive of his career. If he's playing against the Eagles, it's going to be a little different story because the Eagles won last night. The Eagles are 7-7, right in the playoff hunt. The Eagles need this game. The Giants are just playing for pride. It's in Philly, so might be a little different animal there playing a full game in Philadelphia. But Daniel Jones, his first year he was 24-12 touchdowns, interceptions. His completion percentage was 61.9, like about 62%. Second year was 11-10, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and this year we wound up with 10-7. His best completion percentage, 64.3. His interception percentage has come down each year. He was at 2.6%, and he went 2.2%. This year he was at 1.9% interception rate. So his interceptions are getting better. His completion percentage is going up. Unfortunately, his touchdowns aren't going up. Now, is that his fault? Is it the play call fault? Is it, injuries? We don't always have all the guys in there. Is it a weak offensive line? That's something the coach and a new GM. Is it a new coach? Is it the same coach? Is it a new GM? They're going to have to wind up figuring that out. Now, he missed two games in 2019. He missed 2 games in 2020. Obviously, he's going to miss 6 games this year. Now, will he be back? Ever? Bunch said, a lot of stuff nobody knows. Nobody, you can kind of think this and kind of think that, you read stuff, well, the Giants feel that he'll be back next year. I was reading maybe an article here or there or something. You have no idea right now. No idea. If after a couple weeks he still hasn't been cleared for contact, if you get break an arm or a finger or a hand or something or a knee or whatever, right? They can put some bolts in there, they can put this in there, that, and you start messing with somebody's neck, their spine, and all that and everything. One bad hit. That's all it takes. One bad hit. All it takes, so you don't even know if he'll ever be back. Hopefully chances are he will. Maybe he just needs, some rest or whatever he needs to do with the doctors and all and everything. Maybe he might have to do some minor surgery. I don't know. But he may not even be back. Now, of course, once again, who will the new GM be? Now, you might go out and, there's a couple GMs out there. There's some GMs out there who have some decent experience. There's other guys like Kevin Abrams and some other guys who are like, haven't been GMs. But they might come in and they might, that's not my quarterback, sorry. Nope. You gotta get, like trying to get 3 to tango here, right? You're trying to get a GM to come in to work with Joe Judge and don't want to have Daniel Jones be his quarterback. That might be a pretty tall task. You don't even know who the coach is going to be. Just say we're 4-10 right now. Say we wind up losing like 31-10 to the Eagles. Then we go on the road and Justin Fields, who hasn't really looked that bad. Maybe we don't get embarrassed, but say we lose, I don't know, like 24-10. Right, and then the Washington football team comes in, and maybe just for maybe they need the last game of the season, maybe have a shot at maybe making the playoffs or something like this. They're still in the playoff hunt, but their chances are dwindling because they just lost to the Eagles. But they still got a shot. But just say they need the game, and then when they come in there, and we got Jake Fromm in there, and he gets and they're good pass rush, and he gets flustered, he throws a pick 6 here, he gets strip sacked, fumble, they run it back, and we wind up losing like 27-3 or something. Just saying. Now we're 4-13. We were embarrassed against the Chargers, embarrassed against the Cowboys. We lose the last 3 games. Say we, all these games in a row, we all, get embarrassed by. Is Mr. Mara going to want Judge back? Who knows? A lot of things you just don't know. A lot of these things got to all got to play out. Now his 5-year option, I was reading, was anywhere from like $20 to $21 million. Now they have until May of next year to sign him. Obviously, it's got to get done if they're going to pick up the 5th-year option before the season starts. But they have free agency and the draft beforehand, before they can make their decision. To me, I would make him prove it. I'm not having him sign. I'm not going to give him $21 million if he's not, I just prove it, buddy. Prove it. If he goes out and has a phenomenal year, okay. If he goes out and has a horrible year, do you think he's going to go on out and be picked up by somebody and they're going to give him $35 million and he's had 4 crappy years with the Giants? I mean, maybe his first year was 24-12 was good, but I mean, he had some not so good years with the Giants. You think he's going to go out there and somebody's going to, hey, Daniel, well, $35 million, buddy, here you go. No, so I would make him prove it. I wouldn't pick up his 5th-year option. You go out and you prove it, buddy. Now, because of that, we'll go into another section. Who do you, is there somebody you can get, right? Is it like an insurance policy on him, or is there somebody that you can get instead of him? Now, is there anybody in the draft coming up? It's kind of a weak draft, right? Is there any? You want to draft a quarterback? You want to maybe trade for a quarterback? You want to maybe get a free agent quarterback out there? And I said, drafting a quarterback, I don't see any. I don't know. Somebody maybe might come up in the combine and just be like on fire all of a sudden, and rises to the top, and all of a sudden he's going to be a top 3 pick or something. I mean, that seems to happen every year. Maybe that winds up happening. Maybe one of these guys, and he catches the Giants' interest, and because the Texans, maybe even the Lions might take, if the quarterback is really, really hot, one of those two teams might wind up maybe going for a quarterback, especially the Texans. So the Giants would have to trade up to the number 1 pick, or they would have to, maybe have 2 or 3 good solid quarterbacks being the top 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever like that. I just don't see that happening, right? Now the other thing is that you got you trade for a quarterback. Once again, we hear Russell Wilson. Now his cat. To trade like next year. I can't see any way like to trade. For maybe Aaron Rodgers, trade for Russell Wilson next year. You'd have to give up your probably your top 2 first-round picks, and you're going to put them behind an offensive line that might be weak, right? And then you have to give them another first round, and then you're going to have to wind up maybe trading some guys away, or just getting rid of some guys to wind up paying a salary. I think that's a little crazy. Now, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson are both signed, all right, to the end of 2023. Their salary cap, like as I said, like next year, Russell Wilson is his salary next year is $37 million. His salary in 2023 is $40 million, but his dead cap hit in 2023 would be $13 million. So if you really caused a stink or something, they can maybe just kind of let him go, or if we would trade for him, we might have maybe some capital, some draft capital to give him maybe in 2023 or 2024. Plus, also in 2023, if we were to trade for him, we'll have more money, especially once again letting go Sterling Shepard, saving another $9.5 million. The salary cap's going to go up. Maybe you can get rid of Sterling Shepard, a couple other guys, and you'll have money to be able to pay these guys, especially like an Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, his cap hit next year is $46 million. In 2023, his cap hit's $33 million, but his dead cap hit in 2023 is only 7.6. So that is something that maybe the Packers could maybe would let him go, or maybe you could trade him. But you could also, if you trade, you'd also once again in 2023 you'll have cap money. You can pay these guys. Now you can't. Next year you have to draft. Just what I'm saying. Offensive line. If you can get 2 guys out of the first 3 picks, get somebody in the early second round, maybe another stud in the first round, or pick 2 guys. I say maybe Linderbaum and Neal if he's there, the tackle, or one of the other. There's a couple of interior offensive linemen. Pick a couple of guys, build the wall in front of them. Then the guys might want to come there. If you got, especially then, if you have the weapons, if you got Golladay, Kadarius Toney, maybe you pick up somebody else here or there. They got the weapons and you got the wall in front of them. These guys are going to want to come here, or possibly, especially Russell Wilson. Not so much about I don't know about Aaron Rodgers, but Russell Wilson seems to want to come here. But I mean, if you give them weapons and a wall, you can maybe get these guys. Plus, I said you'll have money. You can pay them next year. You can't pay them. You can't pay these guys next year, and you can't trade away your top 2 picks next year. You cannot do that. I also saw an article like Marcus Mariota would be like a free agent. Maybe we could bring him in. He's only like $3.5 million from the Raiders. We bring him in, and maybe he can push Daniel Jones. And if Daniel Jones starts faltering, or if Daniel Jones gets hurt, we get Marcus Mariota in there. If Marcus Mariota somehow starts blossoming and taking off, maybe he can be your quarterback. But I mean, right now, there's no quarterback out there in the draft next year. I can't see to take a top 10 pick on. So maybe in the second round, if you want to do that, maybe pick something in the second or third round, maybe try to develop the guy behind Daniel Jones. Who knows? But as I say, once again, you don't even know who the new GM or is going to be, or if the coach, if there's going to be a new coach, you don't even know. Then once again, how do you evaluate him? I mean, this is another one of the problems. How do you evaluate? He did good with Shermer calling plays, and we were kind of healthy. 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Shermer calling plays. Then with Garrett calling plays, right, and we had no Saquon, he had 11 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Then we had Garrett calling plays again. We kind of had Saquon. We got Devontae Booker, but we had a banged-up offensive line and a bunch of banged-up wide receivers, and he was 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So, is he good under the right system? Is he crappy under a bad system? Regardless, one of the couple things you do know is that if he runs the ball, he gets injured. All 4 times he's been injured, that's from him running the ball. He hasn't been injured standing in the pocket getting waffled. Right? It is running the football is when he's been banged up. He still has some problems fumbling the ball. He still has sometimes a pocket presence problem. Sometimes it seems like he hesitates. So some things. But he throws a nice deep ball. He's tough as hell. He's smart. He's intelligent. He works hard. He's got a great work ethic. But I mean, is he somebody? This the new GM's gonna figure this out. Is he somebody that can just put you on his back and just go, guys, we're scoring a touchdown? I mean, like the game against New Orleans, right? I mean, he did so good in that game. Wasn't that phenomenal? But then you look at a couple games like last year, when we had a chance at the end of the game against the Rams, when we had the game at the end of the game against the Bears, we had a chance. We were driving down there. We needed to score. We just couldn't do it. A lot of questions. But does he need everything to be absolutely perfect? Well, if we give him a good offensive line, everybody stays healthy. Saquon's healthy, Devontae's healthy, all the wide, nobody gets hurt, nothing like that, and then he'll be good. But I mean, that's in a perfect world. This is football. Things happen. I mean, just kind of look at kind of what wound up happening with like injuries. All right, or COVID this past week. There was so many guys out, and sometimes some cases, a lot of the talent was a little deleted because or diluted, my bad, because of the COVID and all and everything. You realize there was only one 300-yard passer this whole week? I mean, that's awfully odd. Well, it was Patrick Mahomes who threw for about over 400 yards, but he was the only one. I said, you look at like injuries, like look what Brady did against New Orleans. I mean, during the game, Godwin, Evans, and Fournette all got hurt during the game. Then what happened to them? Right? What happened to him? He went up 26 out of 48. He was a little over 50%. 184 yards passing, 3.5 yards per pass attempt, which is absolutely freaking pathetic. This is Tom Brady, the GOAT, on offense. Okay? He had no touchdown passes. He had one interception. He had one fumble. He got sacked 4 times, and he lost 9-0. The first time in 255 games since 2006 that Brady has been shut out. Why? Well, maybe because he didn't have all his talent there. Right? You go back to the Super Bowl last year. Look what happened with the Chiefs, right? Their left tackle, Eric Fisher, 2-time Pro Bowler, right? He was out with his Achilles. Then their right tackle, Mitchell Schwartz. He was an All-Pro, right? He was out with back. He had problems with his back. He was out. So what happens with Patrick Mahomes? He's 26 out of 49, 53% completion, 243 yards. He got sacked 3 times, 2 interceptions. No touchdown passes, 9 points, 3 field goals. He couldn't even score a touchdown. The Chiefs not even score a touchdown? Really? I mean, Tampa Bay is a very good defense. Don't get me wrong there, but I mean, really, that offense, they couldn't even. He was just running for his life. Why? Well, because some of his 2 tackles weren't in there, right? So whoever the GM is and the coach and all, they really got their work cut out for them. I mean, in a perfect world, if everything was perfect, Daniel Jones, I think, would be a nice quarterback. Maybe he needs a different system. You know, they got to weigh it in. I mean, he did bad this year. Well, how much of it was the bad system? Maybe. How much was it the injuries to Saquon, his ankle, to the wide receivers? How much was it to injuries to the offensive line? You know, so whoever the GM is going to really have his work cut out for him, or it might even be the GM won't even come in if Daniel Jones, you know, he might insist right away for getting his own quarterback. You know, as I said, you don't even know if Joe Judge is going to make it, you know, be the coach next year. But whatever it is, it's going to be certainly a very, very interesting offseason. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!